Yo, what's up? Perks are one of the most impactful but also most underrated aspects of Enlisted. After watching this video, you will not underestimate them ever again. Instead, you will know how to make your soldiers as strong as possible and customize them the way you want to play them. So, first, how do perks work in general? Look at any squad you have. In the upgrade tree, you see your squad upgrades, you see your weapon upgrades, and then you also see your soldier class upgrades. This red technology tree tells you how high you can upgrade your soldiers, or how high you can grind them. For example, here I can grind him to 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. Also unlock things like pistol, second weapon slot, and additional experience gain. Look at the soldier that you refer to. For example, this tech tree refers to the Gunner 2 for Germany. So if I upgrade this specific part, I can level up my Gunner 2s to maximum 5 stars, which is good. If you're a new player, you will obviously start with Gunner 1s and so on. Now, after you unlocked all of these unlocks, make sure you always have the last star, you can, when you play your soldiers, get them experience in this part here. For example, this Flamethrower 1 soldier currently has only 2 stars because I didn't grind him to the maximum experience level. But since I grinded the red tech tree here, he can get a maximum of 5 stars. So yeah, all you need to do is now just play him, get experience with him in game, and then he will eventually reach the last level. Keep in mind, the higher the star, the more experience you need to get. You can accelerate this process by going on perks and then purchase a level, though I don't recommend this doing for the first stars, only for the last. Because the first stars are quickly gained in games, but the last star takes a while. So yeah, it would be a waste of these tickets that you have. So this is the principle. Now, how do perks work in general? Well, perks are basically the body, the physical characteristics of a soldier. They're split into mobility perks, which has to do with movement speed and running and so on. Vitality, which has to do with body strength, how many HP, how many life points you have, how much stamina you have, and some related things. And then the yellow perk, which is basically how skilled the soldier is at using weapons in general. Every single soldier class has a different distribution of perks. The standard Rifleman class would have 16 on the last level for every color. Other classes would get 16 plus minus something. Now, on top of that, you also have to add the bonus of your level. For example, Rifleman 1 will get 16, 16, 16 plus 1 for every color, getting them an overall total of 17, 17, 17. Rifleman 2s have a plus 2 bonus, as you can see, giving them a total of 18, 18, 18, and Rifleman 3 get 19, 19, 19 because they get plus 3 in every color. So this is the basic of how you get these perk points. It's a bit complicated, but once you play the game for a few days, it becomes easy. Now, how does using perks work? Well, here's the deal. If you have this unupgraded soldier, he currently has level 2, giving him 8, 11, 5 points to use. So if I reset all the perks, I would have 8, 11, 5 points to spend. And here's the one special rule you need to understand. In order to unlock the next row, you need to spend 6 points in the previous row. So if I want to unlock perks of the second row, I need to have spent 6 points here in the first. So I can, for example, put here 3 and here and here and here, and now I unlock the next row. Now if I want to unlock the last, I can't do simply that. I have to unlock the last 5th star, then you get access to the very strongest perks available. So this is how it works. Now the question, of course, is which perks are good, which ones are not. Also, which perks are good for which soldier, because some perks are great for instance. For example, you don't want to give your Flamethrower faster reload or recoil reduction, because it's basically wasted since he's gonna use his Flamethrower most often. Well, of course you can, but not too useful. On machine gunners though, you absolutely want recoil reduction because you're gonna spray your weapon a lot. So, some perks are much better on specific soldiers and much worse on others. And you can also do very nice synergistic perk combos. because many of these perks indirectly strengthen each other. And if you stack more of them on top of each other, your soldier becomes very good. So, to shorten everything, I'm gonna give you now an optimal perk setup for every soldier class, or level 1, and afterwards for every maximum soldier class, so either 2, 3, or level 4. One last thing to understand is that whenever you buy new soldiers, they come randomly rolled. Randomly rolled means they don't automatically have their maximum amount of perks they can get, that you can see here indicated by a star. No, they will come as level 1 soldiers, of course, and they will come with oftentimes fewer points than they could theoretically have. This is basically a system in Enlisted that forces you to buy lots of soldiers until you get a perfectly rolled one. Now, I recommend never buy only one soldier, always buy a bunch of them so you don't have to click yourself to death. For example, we can buy 5 at once or 10 at once or whatever. And now we can see, alright, the soldiers I bought will be here with the green stars. This one has one perfect perk color, but the others are not. This one has also only one, this one has 2, this one has 2, this one has 2. Yep, you see not a single one was perfect. Now what I can do now is, this is an old perfect one I bought, you can just quickly click on select and then you can go to the new soldiers you bought and just sell all of the ones that were not perfect, and this way you get your silver back. Since we're talking about Gaijin, you don't get all of your silver back. I think you only get like 80% or so back, so you always lose a bunch of silver whenever you try to get perfect soldiers this way. But still it's better than than getting nothing. So of course you can play suboptimal soldiers, though playing optimally rolled soldiers is always quite nice. Question is, which soldiers should you have optimally rolled? Well, I recommend the level 1 soldiers. It makes sense to have them all optimally rolled, because you will play them for a long time. All the next level soldiers that aren't max for the specific class, I wouldn't care, I wouldn't mind spending silver on getting perfect rolls. The only perfect soldier I then would try to get is the last class. So for example, for Rifleman, I would get Rifleman once perfectly rolled, and then Rifleman 3. And Rifleman 2 I don't care, because they're just an in-between step. Same thing goes for Assaulters. The game starts with Assaulter 2 because Assaulter 1 got replaced by Medics. Yep, getting Assaulter 2's perfectly rolled makes sense, but I wouldn't care about any other Assaulters, and I wouldn't care about Assaulter 3 until I reach Assaulter 4 and then start getting these ones perfectly rolled. Yeah, so don't waste your silver, be economical, because there are way too many ways to waste your silver here in this game, and if you don't know the tricks, what is worth it and what's not, you will just lose a lot of silver instead of having always the silver you need for whatever you want. And now finally I can show you the perfect perk setups for every soldier in Enlisted, starting with the most basic one, the Rifleman. Now there's one thing to keep in mind: for some of these classes you can have 2 different setups depending on how you want to use them, and also depending on the nations there might be some differences. For example, the Americans are the only nation, or one of the few nations, who have a really strong semi-auto rifle that you want to use on low BR, where you will usually play your Rifleman once, but you also have an extremely strong bolt action, so it makes a lot of sense to have both of them. Now the kicker is, for bolt action rifles there are 2 perks that are really great to make them faster. For semi-auto rifles there's only one perk, but there's also a perk that makes them more precise. And you can't have all 3, so you want to make a split. That's one thing. The other way, if you build your Rifleman, instead of having 2 weapons, you can just give them only 1 weapon and a large grenade pouch and have 3 different grenades. So you can play them as grenadiers, which I explained in detail in my Rifleman guide. So for them, the perks will be also a bit different. So the Riflemen are literally the most complicated class, ironically, despite being the most simple basic class. But the perks are mostly similar. So the basic setup is, you always want the Red Vitality perk. I'm going to explain here for this first soldier class some of the basics for the perks, and the next classes will be all much faster, because I want to repeat the basic explanations. The strongest perk overall is the Vitality perk, because it gives you plus 35% more life points. This is extremely important because plus 35% more life points means that many weapons that would kill you with 2 shots won't kill you with 2 shots anymore, only with a third. giving you a lot of time, because enemies don't hit every shot. Many shots fly past you, meaning you will survive for much longer during fights. And also they will survive explosions of grenades and things like that much better. So this is by far the best and strongest perk. But it's expensive, because A, it costs 16, all of the perks in the last row cost 16, and oftentimes, most often actually, soldiers don't have many red points. So some of these points you will see, oftentimes you will have to use in the first row a bunch of fillers in order to be able to afford the last row. So overall the system is quite well balanced, because it's not like you can always buy the strongest perks and then be happy. No, you have to invest in the early cheap perks too, to reach a threshold of 6 perks in the first row. And this makes some of these perk setups a bit complicated. So we always want the Vitality perk for every soldier where it's possible. And we want for our Rifleman the faster reload speed, because bolt actions are very slow. Faster reload speed is one of the best universal perks, because it works with every weapon. It works with bolt actions, with semi-autos, with any full auto weapon. It also works with grenade launchers and Panzerfausts, anti-tank rifles and stuff like that. So very good, strong perk, very universally useful. And every time your bolt action soldier cycles the bolt action, he's also going to profit from additional reload speed. Then the faster firing rate of bolt actions is a bolt action specific perk, obviously. It also affects lever action weapons like the Winchester, which in game are counted as bolt actions. Now, if you play bolt actions, you obviously want both perks, though the reload speed has priority because it also works with other weapons. So in general, you always want to max this first, and only then you want to start putting points into the faster cycling for bolt actions. If you're unsure about what you should prioritize, the faster reload or faster bolt action cycling or whatever, always go for faster reload and then the other perks. Now, if you play only semi-auto rifles, you don't need the bolt action one. Depending on how fast the semi-auto rifle is shooting and how many bullets you have, you want a mix of faster reload and vertical recoil reduction. You can theoretically just have one here and then the rest here, or everything here. It depends. Especially if you play 2 semi-auto rifles, which you usually should, you can completely save yourself the faster reload and just put everything into vertical recoil reduction. Because if you have 2 weapons, you won't need to reload it often. Which is also one of the reasons why 2 weapons is better than weapon plus ammo pouch. The dual wielding literally basically saves you perk points of reloading, which is quite expensive, that you can instead use in vertical recoil reduction. So this is the basic. Then among the red, the best filler perk is the breath holding, though you need to use breath holding in the first place. You can either do it by always holding the breath holding button, or you bind breath holding to your shooting button, then your soldier will always hold breath when you're shooting, which is making the game much comfy to play because you don't have to click as many buttons anymore. Same works with mount binding shooting to marking, then you also mark automatically and you never have to care about marking anymore. The breath holding perk is great insofar as it's a very nice and inexpensive filler perk. Oftentimes after planning 16 points for vitality, you will only have 1 or 2 left, and you can perfectly put it in here. And for weapons that you will aim for a long time, you really want the additional breath holding time, because if you run out of breath holding time while aiming, your soldier will start swaying his weapon and then you can't aim anymore. So yep, bolt action rifles you usually aim for a long time, so yep, it's very useful if you can hold it for long. And semi-auto rifles, well, if they have lots of bullets like the M1 carbine, also quite useful with the breath holding. Though if it was a weapon with only 5 bullets only, you wouldn't need the breath holding, but still a good filler perk. And for the green ones, here's one thing to understand. This is basically a must on every soldier, because changing pose is literally going to save you the whole time. If you become disciplined and always go down on the ground when you're getting shot at, or if you mount your weapon, or if you, especially for engineers, go on the ground or move your body for the different buildings, all types of soldiers are basically profiting from this pose, from the faster pose changing perk. So this is not only a great filler perk for the first row, it's also one of the best perks overall. And plus 50% is really good because it makes a difference whether you survive getting shot and quickly going on the ground and missing, and the enemy missing, or the enemy hitting you because you're too slow. So yeah, this is just an extremely good perk. Now, regarding the remaining greens, here's a basic principle that you will see in all the other classes too. The faster running speed is really, really good. Not just for more fun gameplay because you're more faster, but also because it enables you to actually do flanks very effectively. You can outrun bullets if the enemy is shooting from far away and you're running straight left or straight right, he's likely going to miss you, especially with many SMGs that are slow firing. So this is quite useful, but it's very expensive. And out of the expensive perks, only Vitality is really worth it. The others are usually overpriced. And the horizontal recoil is even useless for almost every weapon in the game. So you usually always want Vitality, but you basically, well, depending on what you want to, you don't really need the others. Here's the big advantage among the green perks. Instead of paying 16 for the fast running, you can also just buy these 2 perks, or these 4. The faster aiming and faster walking. Now ignore the names that the perks have here. This is faster running and this is faster walking. The fast weapon aim is quite useful because it makes many weapons comfier to use. It's extremely useful with sniper rifles and bolt action rifles where you have to cycle after every shot, and this perk makes the weapon overall much faster. And faster walking is very nice if you are, for example, trying to throw a grenade and you're changing your position. If you're cooking your grenade and you're behind cover and you want to, cook it and then quickly emerge in front of the cover and then throw, or if you're a tank gunner and you want to walk around the tank quicker and shoot him from a better angle, faster walking is quite useful in many situations. Keep in mind, if you're spraying a weapon while walking, you're going to get extreme dispersion penalties. So you want to avoid spraying weapons while walking, but still, in many situations, this is quite useful. Also, it's going to make you also run a little bit faster overall, especially if you run out of stamina. So yeah, this is, if you want to be faster running isn't absolutely necessary. Faster walking is also quite useful too. And faster aiming for multiple weapon types, great. And also for your bots. And this is the last big secret. There are ways to make your bots really strong and enlisted that they're actually useful. Faster aiming is one of these perks, because then your bots become very deadly, very, very fast. And our last filler perks, the turn rate, I'm going to call it turn rate perk, because this perk doesn't really have a name. This perk removes the penalty when you turn around quickly and aim, because usually when you turn around and start aiming, your bullets are going to get a dispersion penalty, meaning they will be less precise. And your bots are constantly turning, because your bots are usually looking in a dumb direction, but when your bots get a notification that an enemy is nearby, they will instantly turn around to the enemy and start shooting. This is a perfect bot improvement perk, because if you have this on every bot, on every soldier, your bots will be much more precise, because they won't have this penalty anymore. So yeah, this is really good, and this together with this is a great combo to make your bots better. Faster weapon the weapon changing perk is also one of the best in the game. It's very cheap, and it gives you plus 50%. Meaning, whenever you switch from one weapon to the other, you save a lot of time. Now this isn't only useful if you are dual wielding weapons. If you're switching from a rifle to a grenade, or to a pistol, or to an axe, or if the engineer switches from his weapon to his hammer, or the anti-tank gunner from rifle to Panzerfaust, it's always active. And this fast changing perk is as useful as the change pose perk. Absolutely great perks, absolutely useful, and make the game more fun to play. And the melee perk is basically a filler. Literally the most common filler you will see in the next soldier types. It's the best filler because the only other filler would be grenade throwing range. Though if you have this perk on, you will never get a perfect intuition for how you throw grenades if you have some soldiers with and others without this perk. So you usually want to avoid this perk completely in order to avoid ruining your grenade throwing skills, and instead just use this one. This perk most of the time won't be active. It sadly doesn't make charging faster. What it does make faster is the stabbing animation at the end of a charge, or the stabbing animation with any weapon, and it makes your shoveling faster. So yep. And the additional damage is useless for most weapons, though if you're having knives, if you want to attack with knives quickly, this becomes actually useful because knives don't kill with one attack. Unless you have this perk, then they do. So yeah.